Hello,
How's it
everybody,
going,
and
mate?
welcome to Toffee Bluecast Instant Match Reaction straight live. We have got Luke from School of Science joining us on this instant match reaction. Let's face the music. Let's do it. Get your comments on the screen. We do like to give you a platform to vent how you feel after the game, so we will get as many comments as you right up on the screen, and we'll try and interact with you and say what we think on your comments. So, yes, Luke, how are you doing? How are you doing after that?
You know what? A touch disappointed, but to be honest, when we look at things from the more grand scheme of things, I think at half time I would have been happy with a draw. But after that lovely goal and then the opportunity for us to sort of hold on to that leads with the red cards and everything, for us then to concede, I think it was what 4 minutes into added time. That it hurts a little bit, to be honest.
Especially when you do, it felt like Bramthwaite had scored the winner, didn't it? It did feel the way
Absolutely.
Bramthwaite celebrated it, because that was towards the end. That was kind of a late goal, wasn't it? The Bramthwaite goal,
Yeah, I
and
think it
when
was about the
Bramthwaite
70th minute.
scores, yeah, 70th minute. So you're thinking when he scores, still quite a long time. But this is the big part that I think a lot of people will be frustrated with. I'm quite positive on this, to be fair, because I think there was a lot of good signs today. But the big part is that they got a red card
Yeah,
after we was
that's
1-0 up.
Yeah, that's a first. Everton actually being on the benefiting end of a red card. That's a first. When was the last time Everton actually had a red card go in their favour? Because I can't remember the last one.
I was shocked to give it as well. I can't remember the last
That's
one either. I was actually shocked that the
that's
red
maybe like the
card
first of the
was
season.
given. Did you think it was a red card, Luke, or not?
Absolutely. The way
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of them. It's a harsh red card, but it's a red card nonetheless because of the way he went through. I mean, he's pretty much got his studs up above the ground. He's had no control of his feet. And he's went straight into Onana, into the ankle and shin. So we're fortunate that Onana didn't get injured there because that was quite a bad challenge, to tell you the God's honest truth.
It was a bit. I know he's not got. He's a big lad, but he ain't got big legs, and that was a bit of a leg snapper. It
Mhm.
was. I think Gilmore was frustrated. I generally think because we was on top with the game, we went 1-0 up. They felt that they probably deserved more than what they was getting, and I just think Gilmore deliberately went into crunch Onana. Then it was pure intention to crunch Onana for me. I don't think it was going for the ball. I think it was just to leave something on him late because Gilmore was just really angry that they'd had loads of possession, but yet we was 1-0 up. So definitely a red card as well for me. Didn't expect him to give it though.
Yeah.
Like you say, we have seen them not given against us. So I was a
Oh,
little bit
absolutely.
surprised. We'll just first touch on Braithwaite's goal. I mean, I seen a lot of stuff at half time, Luke. Everton fans all over Twitter was really frustrated that we was not having no possession. I've seen a lot of frustration with the first half. How was you feeling on that first half?
To be honest, I felt like it was a typical Everton. To be fair, I mean, as we all well know, it's a situation with the likes of Sean Dyche. His style of play with Everton right now is quite literally let them have possession. We'll tell them what to do with it. It's quite literally that from start to finish. We'll let them do what they need to do with the ball. We'll stop them from getting around the 18-yard box all too much. If they do get around there, they're not going to get anything in there really. And then we'll catch them on the counter for a quick little counter attack. I think the only problem is though with Everton right now and that style of play is we don't have all that much pace when it comes to going up the pitch. I mean, I would say we're missing probably about two or three players who have got absolute breakneck pace to sort of capitalize on them counter attacks. I mean, watching Calvert-Lewin at the moment, he seems a bit lethargic when it comes to his movements. I mean, don't get me wrong, he had a few moments there where he was able to, try and break away, but at times he just seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time for it.
Yeah, I know we all are behind Calvert-Lewin to do well, but it just seems that he's burning himself out trying to do well. It feels like if you give him a break and let him recharge and just put the pressure on another striker and let Calvert-Lewin come in with less pressure on him, I think it would benefit Calvert-Lewin because I mean we will go back to the first goal, but when Beto come on, Beto did more in that 5 minutes to unsettle Brighton's defence than what Calvert-Lewin did all game. I mean, Beto
Absolutely.
come on and he ran at that Hecker or whatever his name is. Beto ran past him and he had to take him out and they got a yellow card. And Brighton's defence hadn't been troubled all game. But Beto comes on straight away, puts them under threat, and then Hecker's on a yellow card.
Yeah, Beto
Great.
himself, straight
Yeah,
when he was on, he was pretty much an immediate impact there. It was just unfortunate that is one break on goal. One of the breaks on goal, he kind of sent it high, wide, and handsome. He should have really have tried to at least get one of the shots on target.
yeah. Well, I did. That's what I was just going to touch on. I know he did miss two huge opportunities, but he does create himself opportunities. The first one was Beto had literally just come on. He plays a 1-2 and he runs in the box. It's good. It's probably more intention than Calvert-Lewin 2 scores. So he plays it out wide, runs in the box, gets on the header, misses the header. That's the first one. The second one that Beto has is the one where do you think he takes a bit of a nudge? Do you think that's what puts him off on the composure on the shot on that? Because he does get a little bit of a shoulder to shoulder before he shoots.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. I think it was Lewis Dunk himself actually. All he did was sort of just put a little bit of pressure on Beto's back, just enough. Well, shoulder to back, and it's just enough to put him off from that actual shot at goal. I mean, it's one of them. If Beto would have went down, it would have been soft, but I think he might have got something out of that.
Yeah, he definitely did get a bit of a nudge on him, but he still probably should have had the composure hit it over the bar. But he is getting into those positions, and we did see him score one of them against Newcastle. So
Yeah,
I just think he was a bit unlucky there. On the Branthwaite goal, we'll go back to the first goal now. It's hard because you want to keep skipping stuff to get to the end because that's the reason that what happened. But we'll go back to the first goal. Branthwaite, what a finish! Like composure there to put it top right hand corner. It was a striker's finish, wasn't it? It was a Michael Keane sort of
ab-
finish that was.
absolutely. The shot itself was an absolute peach. I mean, ball came in, bounced off the head, and he literally just got a nice little touch on it. Had lovely amount of space, and it was just perfect for that hit. I mean, he could have quite easily have just, went for a quick cross and hoped one of the other players could have got it, on like a little slight header. But he thought, nah, I see the goal. I'm going for it. And he got it really nicely. Like, got everything behind it, right in the top corner. Couldn't fault it. And I'd probably argue and say that could be goal of the month for us this month.
Yeah, it was a cracker. And for it to be Branthwaite as well just makes it even that more special because he'd been defending so well. And it
Oh,
felt like it
absolutely.
was that sort of game where it was going to be someone unexpected that was going to score for us, wasn't it, Luke? Because the front
Yeah.
players wasn't doing it like you said. They just wasn't fast enough. Do you think we missed Marvin Gray on the counter attack? He was fast,
Um,
wasn't he, on the counter?
he was, but in all fairness, I think he's kind of when Sean Dyche came in, he kind of fell out of favour with Damari Gray rather quickly, just because when you watch Damari Gray playing, one of the biggest things about him was more down to the fact that he was, how can I put this? He was very hit and miss, to give you the God's honest truth. I mean, I always remember a few games with him when he came on. He probably spent more time making a little bit of slight little blunders here than there than making like clean little runs into the channel or making a decent run with the ball. I mean, the amount of times I remember seeing him at Goodison, and he'd probably be spending more of his time on the floor than he did on his feet with the ball, just for the fact that he would genuinely be slipping up here, there, and everywhere when he was trying to make moves.
I think that is the thing. Then some Everton fans probably think it's a given, and they think our players just defend good naturally. But you do have to remember that they train hard to defend this good, and that is something that Dyche is getting right, by the way. Because under Lampard, under other managers, we wasn't this good defensively. We really wasn't. It's like some people forget how bad we was defensively, and
Oh,
and you've
absolutely.
got to remember everything that they do on that pitch represents what Dyche is doing. The attacking stuff isn't right, fair enough, but you've got to give him credit for the defensive stuff because there's not many teams that go out and defend as well as Everton at the minute. Like I can't think of anyone that's defending as good as Everton. Like we really are defending well. Everyone in the Premier League's leaking goals, but we are defending fantastic. So Dyche is you can't get everything at once, right? Dyche has come in. We're bad at defending, and we're not that good at attacking, and we can't pass the ball. So Dyche has got to try and break things down. So the first thing Dyche is going to start off with is he's going to look at the defence and try and hit the roots and solid the defence up. And I feel like that's where we're at the minute. Dyche has got the defence solid, and he keeps trying to add when we attack for us to be better. So when we sit and we're behind the ball, That stuff is good. When we're in possession, Dyche is trying to learn us how to be a better team in possession, like transition, as Dyche talks about in the interviews. But it's not going to all happen at once, is it, Luke? And I think we're just struggling with that part at the minute, ain't we? Like the out of when we do get the ball back, we need a start. We need to click on a style when we do get it back, and we can't seem to find ourselves, can we? When we get the ball back,
To be honest, I think we've lost our way a little bit when it comes to our style of play when it comes to attacking. Because what we always used to do was when we got that ball, we would probably have about 4 or 5 passes going forwards, and then having it result either in a shot on target or a goal itself. That was what we used to do, and it was one of the things that was apparent with the early days of Sean Dyche. He was quite literally get the ball. One of the defenders would get the ball, push it through. It'd either go through to a Drisagarnagay or Onana, whoever's playing in that position. It would then push through either to McNeil or back then, I think was it James Garner we had back last season playing on the right wing? I think it was, wasn't it? Either James Garner
yeah,
or who else was it? Because it wasn't Damari Gray. Oh, Iwobi. Forgot about Iwobi then. It would go through either to McNeil or Iwobi, and then it was either go inside to Decore and then to Calvert-Lewin, or it was just been crossed into the box and someone would have finished it. We've kind of lost that sort of transitional effect. Either that or players have sort of sussed it out, and we're just getting our key points cut out too quickly. We need to try and find a new way about doing our counter attack play and try and work it into the new system, because our next game now it's going to be West Ham at home. They aren't doing too bad at the moment. They're actually doing reasonably well under Moyes. I mean, they've had a few hit and misses, so we might be in for a bit of a rough time with them if we're not careful.
no, we have got some hard games coming up. I feel Brighton was a hard game. I'm going to keep dropping the comments on the screens, keep them going. Paul Caswell says, at least we have something to build on. And I do feel that is where we're at. I do feel that Sean Dyche has got a big job. He did say when he got interviewed that there's a lot of work to be done. And I think
Yeah,
there is. I don't think these other players that you can just make pass really well. They have all got weaknesses. And I feel a lot of the weaknesses are in possession football. And it's really hard for Dyche at the minute. He hasn't got no one that takes the ball, gets on it, and controls stuff for us. The Blues has said we need better attackers. We do need better attackers, but we can only do certain things at certain times, can't we, Luke? That's the thing. I think.
yeah. I think
Thank
that's one
you
of the
for
things,
that as well.
right? Yeah. I think that is one of the things. Right now, McNeil seems to have lost his form a little bit. He seems a bit mentally haggard at the moment. Jack Harrison, I will admit, he has a few little moments himself there where he was able to actually beat them in play and actually get a little bit of a transition going on. The only thing was with Harrison, his first and second touch are great, but when he's moving from there, normally defenders are sussed out what he's going to try and do, and they cut him out of the game. So we need to try and get him to vary it up a little bit. And the Blues actually raised a good point. Corey did actually have one of his shots cleared off the line as well, and it was from a
Yeah, with a
brilliant little
header.
counter. So I'm gutted in that regard, because I think if Takori would have scored there, I think it might have been a couple more goals a little bit later on down the line. It might have been enough for Calvert-Lewin to say, hang on, Takori's scoring here. Why don't we get, what's the name? Why don't we see what I can do here? Try and, get around the box, get the defenders a little bit nervous, and hopefully, build something on that. It's a very frustrating game, to be honest, because, like I said, at the start of this, I would have been happy with the draw. But the fact that we scored first and then conceded so late on, it's it's the result that I kind of wanted, but not in the way I wanted it.
Fans are frustrated, ain't there? There's a comment there. We are the Goodison gang. I mean, we get all different people's. How you feel after the game is different for everyone. We all take it different. Some of us try and be positive after. Some of us literally want to vent it out. And what a joke that was. That is a lot of vibes on Twitter now at the moment. I think that's why a lot aren't on this, to be fair, because they've had enough with that game. There are some shouts that people aren't liking Dyche. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think Dyche is the right man still? I think he's the right man. I do. I think there's a lot of work to be
Absolutely.
done, and I
I
don't think a
mean,
manager change is going to help us.
right now, I'm not gonna try and sugar anything. We are technically still a team in crisis right now. I mean, we've got the Premier League doing everything they can to try and beat us down because we seem to be the easiest target possible. And Dice has got us playing solidly. What we need to think of right now is these last 2 games we haven't lost. We've drawn. Yes, we've not been getting wins over the course of the past few games, but withdrawing. We're still getting them points on the table, and chances are, I'm still optimistic that we'll get all 10 points back. And based on that, I mean, right now we'd be on 31 points if we didn't have these deductions, and if we get the points back, we're basically sitting around 13th. Would be 1 point behind Fulham on the same amount of games as well. And I think that would also be a massive boost in mentality as well. If we do get all 10 points back, we go right back up into that place. That'll probably help the players a little bit. They'll be thinking, right, we're mid table. The threat of relegation is pretty much all but gone. We will be able to build on this now. We can get back into it. It'll just be that, like, almost like an extra 5 to 10% in terms of their performance in a set way. They'll be moving that little bit faster. They'll be moving with that bit more freedom and everything. So I think as long as we look at it in the sense of we're not 17th right now and facing the battle of relegation, but more than likely 13th, looking closer to the likes of Newcastle than we are to the likes of Luton.
Yeah, we have. I like the way you're looking at stuff, and that's what I want to say as well. I want to put a good stamp on it, like you are, because there is a good chance we're going to get some points back, and we will find that out in the next couple of days. We aren't getting beat. Like, we aren't getting beat, and no matter what you say, yes, like the Blues have said, when we've got the ball, they haven't got that confidence on the ball. They lack the ability on the ball. They do. That's what happens when you've got some young players as well. I don't think gone against the ability man on the ball. But one thing I will say is they are fighting for us. I can't say they're not fighting for us, because they are sliding in, blocking, giving absolutely everything to try and stay up. You don't get, like, what is that? 5 draws now. 5 draws in, I think it's 7 games. 5 draws in our last 7 games. You don't get that if you're not fighting. And they are fighting for us. And I just think, yes, we ain't winning games, but we're not losing games. They're not just giving up. They're not getting battered, and they're not playing for us. We're just not putting it together in the attacking sense. And like the Blues just said, they're not confident on the ball. They're not. We've got to get the confidence. I do think, Luke, you're probably right on that, because if we go and get the points back now and we end up 13th, I think the pressure goes off the players a little bit then. I think they'll still play and know they need to do well to make sure they don't end up in the relegation battle. But I think the pressure just goes off them then, and then they'll start playing better. And the weight to go off the shoulders. And before you know it, you could go from 13th competing to get like 10th position and pushing up nowhere near it. That is what could happen in the next couple of days. So I wouldn't panic too much. Like, some people will make this worse than what it is, but I don't. Brighton, by the way, a very good team. A very, very good team. Look at the attacking players they brought on. Barcelona, Fatty, and all that lot at the end. And so they brought some big players on at the end. They ain't an easy team. Lamptey was hard down the right. I thought Mikolenko did a good job with him. Godfrey did a good job the other side. Do you think, we've got to talk about their goal. Do you think Godfrey should have challenged? I know he's a big lad, Duncan. What a header it was, by the way. Fair play. Really good header. We know what he does. But do you think Godfrey's got... Because I hate this. Do you know when you jump and you're like that when they're behind you and you're not even into the body? Right, this is an example, right? The player's my chair here, right? This is Dunk, right? Dunk's here. Yep. He's the chair. So Godfrey's jumped up and he hasn't touched him. So Dunk's jumped up with Godfrey and he's not even felt Godfrey. If that's me and that's Dunk, and Dunk's miles bigger than me, when Dunk's winning that header now, I'm into him like that. I'm into him and I'm going up. And he'll feel every single thing of me. And it's not a foul, by the way. You're just jumping up body to body. And I just think Godfrey there, and he does it with headers. And that's one thing. I thought Godfrey had a good game, by the way, but I've got to look at the goal. I think when Godfrey jumps, Godfrey knows he's not going to beat him in the air, but he's got to make Dunk feel him. So when Dunk's got that header, it's going to be a harder header because Godfrey is completely into him. And I like that, jumping in. He's not going to get to his head, but he is going to crash into his body. And then he's going to feel the after effect of Godfrey into him. And then I don't think that Dunk gets that precision of being unchallenged and putting it top right hand corner where Pickford can't get it. And I think it's a missed header then. What do you think on that? Am I being too critical?
To be perfectly honest, I don't think Godfrey and Dunk were the best matchup, to be honest. I would have preferred some maybe Tarkowski over the top of Dunk rather than Godfrey, just for the fact that Tarkowski's a lot more of a physical presence, and I don't think he would even give Dunk the chance to jump. That's one of the issues because I mean, like a lot of people have been saying, Dunk has got like 5 inches on Godfrey. So in that situation, Godfrey's already on the back foot massively, and it would take an absolutely phenomenal defender to beat someone with a significant height advantage like that. I mean, you're talking um, to give you the God's honest truth. I think Godfrey wouldn't have. I think Godfrey shouldn't have been marking someone like him. I think he would have been more focused. Should have been more focused on the likes of Ferguson rather than Dunk in that situation. Just try and cut out play because you need you do need height to sort of knock stop that sort of thing happening rather than trying to play, like a little trick into them, like pushing into them and that.
Well, what another thing that I did notice, this is cracking. Keep saying what you think. Don't go with me, go against me. The Blues does, and I like it because we want to get a variety of opinion on Toffee Bluecast. Well, even on the corners, when they had the corners, there was winning a lot of the headers, and luckily they didn't get the headers with power because it was knockdowns. So
Yeah.
when Brighton had a corner, they did the train that we used to do when we had Lescott and all that lot. So Brighton did the train all in a line, and then they all break up in different directions. And when Brighton put the crosses in, normally we're good on set pieces, but Brighton did get about 3 headers into Pickford's hands. And I do feel that we wasn't the best at defending set pieces today. Like the
Yeah.
players wasn't getting picked up. And I do think on what you've just said, Luke, I actually do think if, what's your opinion in the comments? I think if Branthwaite or Tarkowski is on Dunk, he might not score that. Do you think he scores that if Branthwaite or Tarkowski's on him? Still might.
That's true. I mean, regarding what you're saying in regards to the corners, I mean, to be fair, we were actually letting them get free heads on it, left, right, and centre. I mean, thankfully,
Yep.
most of them were just going straight into Pickford's hands. Most of the shots that they had on target today were quite literally into Pickford's centre mass. It was just like they were hitting it in straight down his throat. So he has a really easy game in that regard. I mean, I think he only had to make, I think it was like 2 or 3 major saves. I mean, they
I
did.
was just going to say this. I was just going to say this, Luke. I was going to say, do you think Daesh, and I thought this, I'm glad Dan said this, we're on the same wavelength here, Dan, because I was just thinking when I went to the shop before I set this up, I was thinking, why didn't Daesh bring Keane on instead of Ashley Young? Because basically, Ashley Young's coming on in Decore's position, which is behind the striker. Why didn't he bring Keane on? Because he knows that their threat of scoring is going to be high balls and crosses. Why didn't Daesh bring Keane on? Do you agree with that? I think that's right on that comment as well.
I'm not too sure in that regard because I think how they did it, they actually switched up twofold. So Zakori came off, Ashley Young came
And
on,
they
and
put
Jack
on
Harrison
the
went
right.
inwards. And from there, it was Ashley Young was on the right wing. So you pretty much had the same sort of formation, but Zakori came off, Harrison came in, Ashley Young went wide. That's how I
Do you
saw
think
it
that was the
myself.
right move, though? Do you think that
No,
was the
I
right
don't think it
move?
was. I honestly don't think it was. I don't think Dice should have taken Tagori off, in all fairness. I think he might have been better taking James Garner off and bringing someone on in his stead. I mean, myself, if we were going to go about it in that regard and we were to bring Michael Keane on, I would have said James Garner and said to Michael Keane, okay, you're going to hover around midfield. Any opportunities, just go up, go up, launch it up and try and just slow down the play, stop them from getting anywhere near this box. I mean, someone just actually just raised a good point there. Corey had to come off. He's had both hamstrings injured recently. I mean, I agree with you in that
Yeah, there's some
regard.
cracking comments coming in, yeah.
Yeah, I do agree in that one. But I mean, with all due respect, he's a professional footballer. He should be able to play a full 90 after coming back from an injury. I mean, yes, granted, you come back and try and bring him in slowly, but in this situation right now, watching Decore play today, I don't think he actually covered all too much in regards to, the fields. I mean, he didn't run all too much. He got himself around like the centre of the park quite a bit, and he did actually get up a little bit. But I don't think he actually, covered the absolute entirety of the pitch like he normally does. Because normally when you're watching Decore play, it is literally when they're in possession, he's back with the defenders. When we're in possession, he's up with the strikers. He's literally everywhere in that regard. He's wide, he's central, he's front, he's back. He's got everything covered. I mean, I can always have a look at his heat map as well, if needs be. We can see where he actually was today.
I just think when you're gonna, unless he was injured, I would have left Decore on. I get it, looking after him and stuff like that for the next game, but I just think when you do make some subs, Decore is quite good at closing stuff down. Do you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep chucking stuff on this, and it might get. It's just topics that I feel need hitting, and that's why we go live. Do you feel McNeil should have given him a corner?
Mm,
That was just soft, wasn't it? It was soft.
it
I know
was
he had the
soft,
player
yeah.
behind him, but could he have shielded it and just let it go out for a goal kick, or just let it go to the other player last minute? Am I being too specific here? 'Cause I know the Blues will get involved, but generally the balls come and McNeil just seemed to give him the corner so easy late on, and
I think,
I knew in my head, I thought, you know what, that corner's going to cost us. I just had a feeling when I seen it because it zoomed into McNeil's face after he gave the corner. And I just
yeah,
thought, oh, these look dangerous on corners. This is a bit late because when they've got 10 men, when you give them a corner, it's not that much of an advantage to us. That's where
absolutely not.
teams will try and beat you with 10 men because they can get you on set pieces because you don't miss the man that you're missing on set pieces. You can get away with 10 men on set pieces. So I felt like we should have tried to keep them away from set pieces, corners, and free kicks, which we wasn't
Yeah.
doing. I don't know what you think in the comments as well. Do you agree on that, Luke? It just looked soft, didn't it? That McNeil corner. You could see it coming.
To be honest, I've forgotten it. I'll be honest, I have actually forgotten about the actual corner leading up to it. I think, based on the situation, I mean, what could have stopped McNeil if he, let's say, for argument's sake, he had the ball near that byline? What stopped him from just hitting it with everything behind it? And if it hit their player, it would have just went out to a goal kick. They could have launched it out and sent it to a throw in, maybe. I mean, as he said, can't let them bring the ball down in our box, Dan. Had to be done. I mean, to be honest, when we were 1-0 up, what we should have done is once extra time got announced, I think we should have just tried to hold on for the 1-0 win and just play what we normally do. You know, we're normally playing that, how can I put it? That defensive football where we just pass around our back line, bring it into midfield, and then bring it back into the back line. Just try and starve them out of the game in that regards because they would have come at us with everything they had at that point. But if we
I
would have done
think
that, I think the frustrations would have peaked.
I think Onana did try and get us to have some possession towards the end, but we just couldn't. Like he did get on the ball, Onana didn't he? And I think he tried to say, right, let's just get on the ball, but we just
Yeah,
bricked it and we lost it straight away. And I think it just made everyone think, right, we give up on the passing stuff. We're just going to try and defend this out without possession on the ball. When we've got to have that trick in the bag. Like we've got to be able to have possession with 10 men.
yeah.
I mean, you
I
should be able
mean,
to have possession against a team 11 against 11, which we know we struggle with. But when they've got 10, I think Dyche has got to have a tactic where it gets us on the ball a little bit.
yeah. I mean, he must have something there lined up ready to go for the next game. Well, he should have this lined up for every single game, for every single scenario that we have. I think the problem is at the moment, though, the players that we've got a limited sort of play style that we can do. We've got the players that can do decently in counter-attacking football, but can they do other things? Can they, do long-term possession? Can they try and outstarve a player? I mean, to be honest, the team that we saw against Newcastle seemed to be night and day different to what we have at the moment. I mean, I always remember the Newcastle game. We had a moment there, I think it was like the 90th minute, and we were literally holding on to that possession for like nearly 5 minutes. I don't think they actually got a touch of the ball for nearly 5 minutes, and then we ended up scoring through Beto.
The comments keep coming in. Keane in centre midfielder on the wing. A lot of saying Keane, come on. I did think bring Keane on. But then Keane can come on and he can make a mistake, and then we're all saying you brought Keane on when he wasn't ready and he ain't played and he makes a mistake and we concede. Sometimes, I know it's hard. I thought we defended really well. Still think we're struggling with confidence attacking, but there was a few better plays. I mean, we got down their left hand side a couple of times. I don't think Decore was offside when they said it was offside. Beto had an header. Beto hit one over the bar. Decore smashed that volley, and it got headed off the line. There's some good chances. We are getting a little bit better, I think. I thought we're better when Beto come on. Don't think it's all that bad. I really don't. I think we just got to stick with it. Brighton are a very good team, and they'll beat a lot of teams. They didn't beat us, and we
Oh,
was
absolutely.
this close, by the way, this close from actually beating them and seeing it out. I mean, normally, if you wasn't an Everton fan, Luke, they'd cross that ball in. Dunk would feel the pressure. I mean, you'd think, oh, bloody hell, we ain't got much time left. And edit completely shite, and it'd go over the bar, and you go and have a goal kick. But when you're Everton, you pay for everything, don't you? You really do pay for everything. Like that header for Dunk couldn't have gone any sweeter. And it's frustrating. But we went last game and got a last minute goal with Onana with a header, didn't we? It
Yeah, we
happens,
did.
doesn't it? Yeah,
Oh,
and we
absolutely,
accepted
mate.
that. That got us a point. Yeah, so you can't get it good all the time. Like we got a late goal last game to get a point that we probably didn't deserve. I think was pretty poor that game. This game, Brighton coming, and they did it to us. It happens. You can't stop it sometimes. Football, isn't it? Proper football, and I think we just got to move on from that. Like, who do
Absolutely,
you say
mate.
we've got coming up next? West Ham.
Yeah, we've got West Ham next. That's on Saturday, the 2nd of March. And you know what? It's a game that we could. It just depends how we look at it. From I'll need to have a check of how the squad's actually lines up because if I'm not mistaken, I think they might actually have a few injuries. So I'll tell you real quick if it wants to give me them. No, it doesn't.
Just look at and getting the
Thanks,
fixtures
Sofa
up now,
Skull.
people. There is some positive and there's some negative in the comments, and I like it because I want people to just say how they're feeling. The Blues has just said, I'm more bothered about missed chances than conceding a brilliant header from a giant. Yeah, I know, but that's just where we're at.
Yeah,
By
absolutely.
the
I
way,
mean,
we're not the finished article. We've not signed many players in the last 3 transfer windows. We are just trying to scrape through until we can
yeah,
actually have a bit of activity in a transfer window. Like our owners ran off. Moshiri's ran off. Don't
hasn't
know who
even.
owns a club.
I mean, when was the last time you actually hear from Farhad Mashiri? I think it's more than a year now since we've last heard from him. I mean,
I think it's gonna.
triple seven of having the feet dragged for them. I just understand the whole situation with the Premier League now as well. I mean, we've got a bloody
I
10
think
point
West
deduction.
Ham's a must-win game there, Luke. Comments.
Oh,
I'll keep putting your
absolutely.
comments on the screen, people. I don't think it's a
Yeah,
must-win game. If we get 10 points back, and Luke's just said if we get 10 points back, we're 13th. If we get 10 points back and we're 13th, is it a must-win game then? I honestly do. In the comments now, right? Let's do this. Yes or no? The question is right now. Listen, respond to this, and I'll look at the comments and let Luke say what he's going to say. Do you answer, Luke, and I'll answer. Do you feel that we're going to get some points back?
yes.
How many?
I've got high faith that we're going to get every single point back.
So you think yes, and you think we're going to get all the points back, Luke's just said, in the next couple of days, which would make it a lot better for us, and it'd give us the actual credit that we deserve because we should be sitting 13th if it wasn't from the Premier League, which isn't bad compared to last season. We have progressed a lot. My answer, yes, I do think we'll get points back. I think it will be 6 points. I don't think they'll give the full 10. I just think they'll try and put up a little bit of a fight, although they should. I think we'll get 6 points, but 6 points still takes us in a lot better position. It's like winning 2 games, and we're already out the bottom. We're out the bottom mainly, so it's going to help us a lot. Let's get the comments involved now. Do people think that we're going to get the points back? Here we go. So just to make us feel better, yes, we are getting 10 back. Paul Caswell. The next comment doesn't say whether we're going to get them back. Mike Gow, how you doing, mate? Cracking guy. Yes, he thinks that we're going to get the points back. Cole Martin, yes, he thinks we're going to get some points back. We shouldn't be thinking about the points coming back. But if we've been done wrong, it can help us. Why wouldn't you take something that can help us? By the way, we're not playing shit and thinking, oh, we're going to get points back to save us. We're trying our hardest. I actually generally do think these players, for the ability that they've got today, really did fight. Mikalenko put his body on the line. Hardcore today, Mikalenko did. Wicked. Best I've ever seen Mikalenko play. Best ever. Garner Gay. I know he come off injured, but he turned the ball over and he ran his socks off for an old man. Garner Gay did. I thought Garner Gay had a good game. Branthwaite, some cracking flicks, some cracking saves, like to knock it off players. We are fighting, but there's no harm. Sometimes, you're not allowed to think about getting the points back. Well, I think we've been wrong done by. I do. Punishment doesn't
Yeah.
fit the crime, so why shouldn't we want a few points? But by the way, those points are ours. They're not the Premier League's points that we're getting back. We're not getting 3 points. We've earned those points. We should be sitting 13th. Like, we've earned those points. We've had them wrongly taken away from us through working with the Premier League, making one breach when Man City have had none taken off them, Chelsea have had none taken off them, and then Everton are the only team that has. And we've ended up getting more points than what you'd get if we went into administration. So why shouldn't we want points back? Doesn't make sense. I get the hardcore attitude. We should stay up without points. Yeah, but we earned those points. There are points. We've got the right to want them back. That's just my thought on that as well. Here we go. The Blues, he's gone hardcore here. 1% chance of 10 back. 39% chance of 4 back. He's good in the Blues. 60% chance of getting any back. There are loads coming in listening here. Thanks for listening. We will get all 10. There's a lot of people thinking the same as you, isn't there, Lou?
Lucy's got a point there, because this is what we've got to look at. Right now, Man City are the Premier League's golden goose, just for the fact that they're the team that's, putting them worldwide. They've got all the best players. They've got the likes of the Fodens, Haalands, Edersons. You've got your De Bruyne's. You've got all the world-class players. So they are the team that everyone wants to watch. So they're pretty much the brand that the Premier League are going to protect as much as possible. So for them to protect that brand, they're going to have to give us all 10 of those points back. Because if they let's say they go and turn around and say, okay, we're going to give you 9 points back. We're going to keep 1 because you technically went over. Then they'll turn around and go, okay, well, in that case, if you're saying that we've got 1 for 1 charge, then that means Man City will have to lose 115 because of their 115 charges. And I know some people will say the 115 is a bit exaggerated just because apparently it'll be considered a charge if you don't even answer an email from the Premier League. So we'll say half it, and it's, say, 115 half. So we'll say 70. Let's say it's 70. That means they would lose 70 points. So they would right now be on negative 11, depending on how their result goes against Bournemouth. They'd have to give us all 10 in that regard, because then they'd have to go back against Man City. They'd have to chase up, let's say, Arsenal. They'd have to chase up Newcastle. They'd have to chase up Man United, Chelsea, then Nottingham Forest as well. They would be having to chase up so many other teams. Whereas if they just say, give Everton the 10 points back, we'll wipe the slate. We've got the new system coming in the summer. We'll work with it from there.
Emma's just said there to you, Luke, comments are coming in. Keep your comments coming in, people. That's what we're here for. We want you to vent how you feel after the game. And we're also talking about the topic of the Premier League at the minute, not getting back to us on this deduction. No, they'll change the rules. I think they're already in the procedure. I don't think they can just, they're dealing with Man City and Chelsea under these rules now. Don't think they can go under the new rules. I think the new rules are go under the later stuff. Not sure how it works, to be fair, but that's just how it. I guess they could only do it, otherwise it's just so wrong. They might do it wrong. I don't know. Another thing, Garner Gay looked like he come off injured. Do you think it was bad? I haven't listened to the press after. I don't know, but it looked like it was a groin, didn't it, or something like
that? From the looks of things, looks like a bit of a groin pull. So chances are you might miss him for maybe the West Ham and Man U game. That's my guess anyway. I think he'll be back for the derby, though. We do. To be honest, though, I'd be tempted to just play we play the squad combo of Onana, James Garner, and Takori as our midfield 3, because I do think they've actually got a nice little bit of dynamicness about them. They actually do get the ball moving quite a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not Idrissa is really good because he crunches opposition. He will go in and put everything into a tackle. But
He's
with
brave, isn't he,
Onana,
on
you
the
can
turnover?
say again.
He's brave on the turnover, isn't he? I think
Oh,
a couple of
absolutely. He
times where
will.
players would think twice about getting the ball back, he seems to get it back and not be scared of getting it back and know he's going to get it back. Sometimes because he's a bit like Allen. Sometimes because he's small, he gets the benefit of the doubt and he can get a bit more body contact in to turn the ball over. He turned the ball over a lot. I thought Gay wasn't a problem today. I prefer Onana on because I think Onana offers more in the attacking sense. But Gay for what he's about, he really did put a shift in today. I can't really knock Gay that much. He just hasn't got that passing ability that Onana has got. Onana did come on, like we said, probably could have ended up with his legs snapped. I was bricking it, especially after Gay going off injured as well. You think, bloody hell, we could lose 2 here. Andre Gomez does look like he's going to be back soon. That could be a big thing for us. I know some people won't like that, but I think if you look at
Andre.
Gay, if he has got an injury, Gomez coming back could be a big one, couldn't it, Luke? Interesting on what you just said, though, Luke. I do think Decore coming in is an option as well. Worst case scenario. Do you know if, say, we haven't got the options for the two centre midfielders, you could play Decore there, couldn't you? And maybe play someone else in the 10. We have got Everton. So coming up, it's Everton versus West Ham, Man United at home versus Everton, then Everton versus the Shite, the Derby. That's in three games, that is. Then, so that's 3 really hard games, by the way. West Ham's solid, Man U's solid, but they are gettable. West Ham and Man U are gettable. Pressure's on them. We seem to suit those sort of games better. I actually fancy us against West Ham because it's on them. And I fancy us against Man U. I thought we played well against them last time. I was unlucky because it's on them. The Derby, I'm just looking forward to because I'm nuts. After that, we've got Bournemouth away. Then we've got Newcastle at home. Then we're at home against Burnley. Then we're away at Chelsea. Then we're at home against Nottingham Forest. Then we're at home against Brentford. Then we've got Luton. They're at home. Then we're at home against Sheffield United. And then we've got Arsenal last game. So it's still in for grabs. We're not doing that bad, you know. We've drawn 5 in our last 7. Unbeaten in 5 in our last 7. Yes, we want to win. But they're not losing. They are fighting for us. You don't get draws unless you earn them. And we are fighting, I think. So there's a lot of positives in the league. You come on, and I didn't know how you felt. You could have come on. I invited you on. Thanks for coming on. You could have come on and you could have been fuming. But I'm glad you're feeling like I'm feeling. I'm frustrated. A late goal hurts. Of course it does. A late goal really does hurt. It's hard to take. It's good when you get it. Bad when you've got to take it, especially with 10 men. It's a typical Everton thing. But it wasn't a late goal to lose. It was a late goal to draw. And at the start of the game, I think the Blues might have said 1-1. He definitely said a draw in his prediction. So a few did say draws in the prediction. So it's not the worst thing in the world, is it?
It's not at all. I mean, to give you the honest truth, it would have been nice to have walked away with a 1-0 win. But I think taking into account, this is the Brighton team that went out and slaughtered Sheffield 5-0 at Sheffield's ground. We need to sort of take that into consideration. We've went up against a really good Brighton team. And yes, it is guttering that we didn't, we didn't get the win in the end, but I'm happy with the points. We've got a point. It's better than nothing. We're moving on. We've got West Ham. Let's push on to that and really give West Ham a good game.
Well, we just get to add another D. We're on the Ds at the minute. We are. Everton are getting the D big time. We had another draw to that. So that's without the games that have just gone. Like you say, Brighton battered Crystal Palace 4-1 as well. Gave Spurs a game 2-1. Yeah, they ain't that bad. They was a good team, they was Brighton. And the Brighton have signed a lot of players as well. They had Ferguson on. And they had brought a lot of players on as well. So I'm not going to cry about that. I think we move on. I think we try and beat West Ham. We do our best to win. If we can't win, make sure that we don't lose. Make sure we get the point. And it's away. We've gone away. We've gone to their ground. They want to win. They couldn't beat us. We go home. We take a point. Gutty, we don't get free, especially a late goal like that. But we still put in a big fight to get something, and we come back with a point. Remember, Last season, that Bournemouth game, it was disgusting. There's no point on making things a bigger situation than what they are. We need to just put this game behind us. It's a draw. It's not that bad. And then get focused on the next game. And hopefully that we get a few points back as well to help us along the way. We just don't want to be in another relegation battle this season. As long as we stay up this season, for me, Luke, getting that new stadium in the Premier League, it's a success. And I know that's bad. And I know that's not a good standard for me to think. But when in the transfer windows, you've got rid of Richarlison for 60 million because of Mashiri and all the board. Then you've got rid of Gordon for 40 million and not really put much back in. Then you've got rid of Iwobi for 20 million, not really put much back in. To be where we are now, I think we're all right. Looking more stable, I don't know how, but I think we're okay. We're not too bad. We are doing all right. Right, Luke, last words from you. I'm going to end the show. I'm going to drop a bit of music on.
Good stuff, man.
Here we go. Bit of music. Up the top is everyone.
Toppies.
Get on the stream. We'll be celebrating. I hope so. I really do.